Well, it was brought to my attention a little while ago that the preferred angle of my camera is to come in, is to be on the left-hand side of me, because I'm right-handed. If the camera is on my right-hand side, my hand blocks the visual of actually me laying on the paint. But in certain cases, I think it's important that I have the camera on the right, or it helps, because the view from the left can be pretty distorted, and I prefer that not to be the case. So I'm gonna in this case keep the camera on the right. That's getting kind of dark. I've abandoned the yellow ochre completely, and I've gone, or not the yellow ochre, I've abandoned the cobalt blue completely, and I'm going entirely with ultramarine blue. Cobalt blue is fine. I've used it quite a bit in the painting already, as you know. I like it. I like it in the right places, and I don't like it in the wrong places. So yeah, this is a nice painting, but I'm laying in a few brush strokes now. I've worked the knife, some of the knife areas quite thoroughly, and because I did that, they began to look a little bit brushy. So, with these small, these small shapes, I don't mind going back to the brush. And as I've mentioned before, what I will do in cases like that is take the knife and run it over the brushwork, but slightly, only slightly, and not everywhere. That way we still have the perception of consistency of technique. And that really is what it comes down to. You can use a matchbook cover for all I care, to apply your paint on. The idea normally is, if I use a knife, stick with a knife, it is to maintain your skills with that particular tool. If you use any tool you want, well, then you may as well use a stencil. And if you use a stencil, well, it doesn't say much for your ability, does it? And it certainly doesn't help your ability. So you could call this, what I'm doing right now, a little bit of cheating. I'm not worried about it, because I could do it with a knife. It would just take a lot longer and be more of a pain, of the posterior sort. Okay, that's enough with the brush. Let's take my very flexible knife here and give the strokes somewhat of a similar look. And we're at the edge of the painting. I'm not too concerned about getting fussy about some things. Sometimes being an idealist is just a bad idea, because things are never ideal. Now I'm actually taking my knife and laying in a couple of knife strokes over this stuff. The idea of sticking with one tool is, at its foundation, a training tool for beginners. And I guess I should clue into the fact that I stopped being a beginner many years ago. There, that looks a little bit right there. But if I had some white, whoops, that's way too much. Way too much white. I would just like a little bit of highlighting here. See, now I'm getting clumsy. All right. This is fine, this is not. Let's hop back into the brush and organize that a little better. Do a better job of the execution. Everybody loves a good execution. There, I can strengthen the lines. That way. And I can also end up making a mess or getting too fussy. And getting too fussy is kind of what I'm in danger of right now. But I am driven to finish this. I have to finish this form right now, because I am not going to keep revisiting the same area. You lose your zeal for a painting if it gets kind of humdrum, and that easily happens. So we'll try to avoid that. Okay, in general the form of that's better, but we're still gonna do that. Okay, and this. let's take a step back. The final grooming of that area, after all, will be most likely with a brush. I liked to have just a hint of trunk in here. I didn't want to put trunk in this one or this one because we're directly above other trees, the stumps that are in the way. And now I'm off frame. So we'll back the camera up. We'll move the chair so that I'm in line with you. Zoom out. Our lighting isn't the best in this studio right now. Let's not worry about that. All right. So these trees are done. I mentioned earlier that I might take some of these colors and you know, infuse these areas here with the purples. I might still use a little bit, maybe the odd smudge here and there, it won't be very much. What I thought was a better idea, because this is quite a mass, right? It's not as well defined as the closer up shapes. Rather than going along with the very warm colors, that being, you know, the yellows to the oranges to the reds, of which there are already quite a few in this area, I would go green, which, you know, we're across now more the opposite side of the color circle. More complementary colors. So I went with green in here. I was very happy with it, and I think what I'm going to do is use the greens in this area as well, in these darkened areas. And I think that's going to be a nice balance in the background. Another thing I did, I finished the scumbling up here. Don't know if I'm going to put a knife stroke in there or not. I don't know that it needs it. And yes, you know, I talked about this doing this. I wanted this to now sort of repeat it. It doesn't quite, but at least it's not imposing. At least I don't have this ultramarine blue punching in, you know, punching in against the scene in general. It's more freeing. It's more, you know, it's not punching down. Now it's punching up, or at least this is punching up and this is moderated to be fairly neutral, which is exactly, I think, what I wanted. So right now I'm kind of working my way, we're in the last stages of the painting, right? So I'm kind of working my way from the top, which I think is finished now, down, you know, here, which is very close to being finished, and then we go to the water, and there's very little to be left done in this area. Some simple but crucial decisions to be made. The last thing I will do on the painting is revisit this area if necessary. I'm guessing it will be, but very, very subtle, in a subtle way, you know. So there we have it. I'm back to mowing lawn. It's my daily lawn report. So I'm going to go do some of that tonight, but I'm really happy with the way it's coming. I actually thought I would get further on it today, but I did not. But there's my, that's how it sits so far. It's looking good. I like it. Should I do a quick zoomie? Maybe I'll do a quick zoomie. Yeah, those trees are better. That tree might actually be a bit busy. That's okay. You know, the funny thing about oil paints, they look so strong and dramatic when they're wet. When they dry, they lose much of their zeal. So you kind of take that into account when you're painting. We'll see how it looks when I come back next time. These two are good. They're fine. They're not too attention getting. You know, they're in their place. They're serving their purpose. And this guy, you know, you see the knife work there. You go up here and you can see I've been just scumbling over the knife work, just very gently. That's okay. In general, it still has the appearance of a knife painting, the strength of a knife painting. All right. We're going to call that a day. I hope you have a great weekend. See you soon.